What happens when YouTubers trade the camera for careers no one saw coming? Some quit completely, others doubled down in weird directions, and a few just vanished. Let's start with a name that shook European politics. Fidias. This guy went from YouTube prankster to actual politician. Yes, really. A dude once known for stunts like skydiving in boxes and sneaking onto trains without paying somehow ended up in the European Parliament. How? Chaos, basically. Fidias built his brand on doing whatever it took for attention. Sometimes funny, sometimes reckless. But after pushing things too far in Japan, dodging fares and locking himself in train bathrooms, the internet turned on him. It wasn't just a prank gone wrong, it was a full-on international scandal. So when he returned to Cyprus and suddenly announced he was running for office, wearing a suit with no pants, most people thought it was a joke. It wasn't. He started treating politics like another challenge video, running across the country, debating actual politicians without knowing anything about laws. But somehow it worked. He got votes, real votes, enough to land him a seat in the European Parliament. Now he spends his days in meetings and writing policies, but still posts the occasional chaotic vlog. But not everyone crashes into politics. Some creators just quietly disappear, like Dany, the game developer behind viral hits like Crab Game and Mook. At one point, this guy was dominating YouTube with his goofy style and weird game ideas. Viewers loved him, but they loved his unfinished game Carlson even more. Maybe too much. The hype around Carlson grew so massive that Dany couldn't handle it. Every comment, every DM, every forum post was begging him to finish it. When he didn't, fans turned angry. They spammed him, mocked him, even sent threats. Dany tried to explain he was burnt out, that the pressure was messing with his motivation, but it didn't stop. Eventually, he stopped uploading entirely. No goodbye, no explanation, just silence. His last post was in 2023, and since then, the only updates came from friends saying he's okay and still working behind the scenes when he feels up to it. Dany didn't quit because of hate or failure. He left because success became overwhelming. This kind of burnout isn't rare, especially when the audience starts demanding more than a creator can give. Another case? Corpse Husband. You know, the faceless YouTuber with the insanely deep voice. He blew up during the Among Us era, made music, stayed mysterious, and pulled millions of fans without ever showing his face. But when people started digging into his personal life, leaking photos and speculating about how he looked, everything changed. He didn't want the spotlight anymore, not like that. So he stopped posting and focused fully on music, which was his real passion all along. The problem is, when your identity becomes your brand, losing privacy feels like losing control. Corpse didn't just walk away from YouTube, he escaped it. But escaping YouTube isn't always about mental pressure. For some creators, it's just about making more money somewhere else. And when it comes to chasing bigger paychecks, no one's done it louder than Belle Delphine. Belle didn't just leave YouTube, she flipped the entire internet upside down first. Starting out with makeup tutorials and cosplay content, she figured out quickly that looking cute wasn't enough. So she made everything weird. Eggs cracked on her head, dead octopus puppets, intentionally bizarre behavior. Anything to get people talking. And it worked. Her fame exploded, but it wasn't the kind of fame that lasts quietly. At the peak of her internet chaos, Belle launched one of the most controversial side hustles ever, selling her bathwater in jars. It sold out in days, but it also brought a flood of backlash. Ridiculous rumors spread. News outlets picked it up. People couldn't stop debating whether she was a genius marketer or just totally lost it. Then things got worse. PayPal froze her account, fans started reporting her platforms, and all her income streams disappeared overnight. That's when she made her biggest move yet, OnlyFans, and not half-heartedly. She leaned into it fully and reportedly made millions doing so. For years, she disappeared from YouTube, only popping back up in 2024 with 2 surprisingly wholesome videos. Fans were stunned, not because the content was great, but because it felt like a total shift, like someone trying to erase years of controversy in a couple of clean uploads. Whether it's redemption or rebranding, Belle's story is a prime example of what happens when internet fame turns into a business, and that business gets messy fast. But for creators like Jake Paul, the mess was never a side effect. It was part of the brand. Jake didn't just leave YouTube, he outgrew it. Starting with prank videos and cringy diss tracks, he turned himself into a walking headline. Fired from Disney, hated by neighbors, constantly in the middle of internet drama, but it all fueled the same fire. Then came the real twist, boxing. At first, no one took him seriously. He challenged other YouTubers, fought Dany, and somehow walked away with a win. What looked like another attention stunt turned into an actual career. By 2020, Jake was fighting professionally. By 2024, he was in the ring with Mike Tyson. Yes, that Mike Tyson, and he won. Millions watched, headlines exploded. Suddenly, Jake wasn't just a YouTuber turned boxer, he was the YouTuber boxer, and he wasn't stopping there. From promoting fights to starting his own company around boxing, Jake built a whole new empire without ever needing a vlog camera again. He's still loud, still controversial, still polarizing, but now he's doing it in stadiums instead of bedrooms. And that's the thing, you don't need to stick with YouTube forever. Some creators leave quietly, some leave because of HATE, but others, they leave because they've figured out how to win even bigger somewhere else. Not every YouTuber exits in a blaze of chaos. Some leave quietly, but with a purpose. They're not chasing headlines or clout. They're building something that actually matters to them. Take Maya Higa, for example. She didn't just stop making content, she shifted it towards something way more meaningful. Her early YouTube days were filled with light-hearted animal vlogs and falconry videos. Yeah, falconry, like with actual hawks. It was niche at first, but people loved it. The more animals she brought on camera, the more viewers tuned in. But instead of cashing in with brand deals or clickbait, she went a totally different direction. Maya used her growing platform to launch a non-profit animal sanctuary. It wasn't just some vanity project either. She hosted a 21-hour charity stream, raised over $500,000, and bought a 15-acre property to make it happen. Since then, she's focused her online presence around education, conservation, and giving viewers a real look into animal care. Washing horses, cleaning enclosures, feeding wildlife, this is her content now, and people still show up to watch. What makes Maya stand out is that she didn't trade YouTube for fame or money, she traded it for impact. She turned a platform built on memes and gaming into something that helps living creatures every day. A similar mindset guided MatPat, yes, the face of game theory. After over a decade of dissecting video game lore and explaining internet mysteries, MatPat shocked his fans in 2025 with a tearful goodbye. But he wasn't retiring for rest. He had something much bigger in mind. MatPat announced his plan to enter politics, not as a stunt, but as a way to fight for creators' rights. He wanted to advocate for online privacy, better mental health protections, fair taxes for digital workers, and safer online spaces for kids. Unlike some creators who stumbled into politics as a joke, MatPat came in with a mission and years of experience running a creator business behind him. He even helped launch the Creator Caucus, aiming to bring lawmakers and internet entrepreneurs into the same room. While he hasn't officially run for office yet, it's clear he's laying the groundwork to become one of the first major YouTubers to seriously step into government. From decoding game endings to writing policy proposals, that's a transformation nobody saw coming. And yet, it makes sense. After years of being the bridge between the internet and real life, MatPat decided to protect the very community he helped shape. Now compare that to someone like Asmongold, a creator who also shifted into business, but hit a much rougher road. Asmongold was known for World of Warcraft streams and brutally honest commentary, but behind the scenes, he was making big moves. He co-founded One True King, a creator-led content group, and helped launch Starforge Systems, a gaming PC company. It seemed like a perfect match. He had a deep understanding of what gamers wanted and a massive audience to promote to. But things went sideways, fast, from pricing backlash to drama. Inside the company, Starforge struggled to hold its reputation. Then things escalated when Asmongold made highly controversial comments on social media that drew massive public criticism. Twitch even banned him temporarily. That's when he stepped down from leadership roles at both of his companies and took a step back from business altogether. Since then, he's returned to his roots, streaming and gaming. But his journey shows how risky it is when creators take their digital fame into the real world. Building a business with your name tied to it means every mistake is public. Every tweet becomes a headline, and sometimes the internet doesn't let you recover. These creator-led ventures show a bigger trend. YouTube and Twitch aren't just platforms anymore, they're launch pads. The real question is, what happens when creators try to take control of their future? Some succeed and grow beyond the algorithm, Others crash under the pressure. So why are so many YouTubers walking away from the very thing that made them famous? It's not always about money or clout. Sometimes it's about survival. The pressure of constant uploads, criticism from strangers, and the grind of staying relevant has pushed a lot of creators to the edge. And when your job is being watched 24/7, the line between personal life and performance starts to vanish. Burnout is no longer just a buzzword. It's a full-blown epidemic in creator culture. One example that quietly reflects this shift is Lilly Singh. Once known as Superwoman, she built a massive empire on sketches, positivity, and relatable comedy. But as her career blew up, so did the expectations. Every video had to be bigger. Every post had to be perfect. She eventually admitted that the pressure was crushing her, so she left her main channel behind and tried her hand at late-night TV. It was a bold move. Hosting a network show as a YouTuber wasn't common at the time. And while the show didn't stick around forever, it proved something important. Creators were no longer limited to one platform. They were becoming brands, businesses, and even broadcast personalities. Another example is Jarvis Johnson. Unlike many creators who vanish without a word, Jarvis took a different path. He shifted his content from comedy skits and commentary to more thoughtful discussions and critiques on internet culture. He didn't quit, but he slowed down, set boundaries, and reshaped his relationship with his audience. What makes Jarvis stand out is that he talks about the pressure openly. He doesn't try to pretend that making videos is always fun or easy. Instead, he creates smarter, more focused content at his own pace, proving that longevity on YouTube doesn't require burning out. And then there are the creators who didn't just switch careers or slow down, but reinvented themselves so thoroughly that viewers barely recognize them anymore. One of those is Nathan Zed. He was once known for sharp, funny commentary on social issues. His uploads weren't frequent, but every time he posted, it felt like an event. Over time, though, he started shifting away from traditional YouTube. He began focusing on photography, design, and personal projects off camera. He never made a big deal about leaving. He just evolved. No drama, no meltdown, just growth. This slow fade is something we're seeing more and more. Creators aren't quitting in a viral blaze. They're walking away quietly, building lives that don't depend on algorithms or subscriber counts. Because sometimes, the most questionable job a YouTuber can take isn't selling bathwater or becoming a boxer, it's choosing to be normal, to stop performing, to stop chasing likes, to just live. Some YouTubers don't just leave the spotlight, they walk into completely unexpected lives, far from anything related to fame or entertainment. One example? Peter Oakley. Known online as Geriatric 1927, Peter was one of the earliest viral creators on YouTube. He didn't have flashy edits or meme content. He was an elderly man sharing stories about his life, war memories, and thoughts on growing old. Millions tuned in for his honesty, his calm demeanor, and the novelty of hearing real wisdom on a platform mostly filled with noise. But what made Peter so remarkable wasn't just that he stood out. It's that he never used YouTube as a path to something else. After gaining millions of views and a global audience, he didn't try to turn it into a brand or book deal. He simply used the platform to connect, and then returned to a quiet life. No spin-offs, no merchandise, no drama. His final videos were calm, reflective goodbyes. He saw YouTube not as a launchpad, but as a tool. And when he was done using it, he moved on. Another unique shift came from Brittany Broski, aka the Kombucha Girl. She went viral overnight because of a facial reaction to trying kombucha for the first time. That clip exploded across every social platform, turning her into a meme before anyone knew her name. But instead of milking the meme for clicks, Brittany turned it into something smarter. She could have been a one-hit wonder, but she carved out a personality-driven career through podcasting, brand collaborations, and long-form comedy. Still, she's been increasingly vocal about stepping back. Fame hit her like a wave, and she's been honest about struggling with how much it changed her life, including her mental health. In recent interviews, she's hinted at wanting to pivot away from being online so much, and possibly into a quiet, private career entirely. And while many YouTubers turn to tech or business, some go deep into hands-on, service-based jobs. A growing number have become EMTs, teachers, park rangers, even farmers. The appeal? Stability, purpose. A life where strangers don't dissect your every move or demand uploads at all hours. What's become clear is that YouTube fame, for all its appeal, has a shelf life. and more creators than ever are choosing to leave it behind for something they actually control. Take Jack Douglas, better known as Jack's Films. He spent over a decade turning viewer comments and pop culture into running jokes. His series, Yoi I, Yesterday I Asked You, built a cult following, and his meme parodies were a staple of early YouTube. But in 2023, things changed. After dealing with burnout and a messy feud involving another creator, Jack stepped back from his usual content grind. He didn't quit outright, but his uploads became more sporadic, less driven by trends. Instead, he began focusing on niche content and live streaming, less polished, more authentic moments, sometimes not even for YouTube at all. He's one of many creators subtly shifting their content into a quieter gear without making it a whole dramatic exit. But then there are creators like Elle Mills, whose exit was dramatic but for painfully real reasons. Elle blew up fast with her cinematic vlogs, often blending humor, emotional storytelling, and massive life events. She was the definition of viral success, but the speed of it all crushed her. Just a year after hitting her peak, Elle publicly opened up about how unhappy she was and how the pressure of creating content had wrecked her mental health. She eventually took a long break and hasn't returned to consistent uploads since. Instead, Elle moved into freelance video work and focused on living offline. Her channel still exists, but her personal presence on YouTube has faded, replaced by a behind-the-scenes career that gives her more control and less exposure. Another sharp left turn came from Franta, one of the original OG YouTubers. Connor's early content was lighthearted and silly, but over time, he shifted into deeper territory, talking about identity, coming out, and mental health. Eventually, he stepped away from regular uploads to pursue writing, photography, and brand building. His YouTube channel didn't disappear. It just became one part of a much bigger creative career that no longer relied on algorithm performance. Connor now runs his own coffee company, writes books, and builds a life as a creator without needing to post weekly. It's a slow, intentional shift we're seeing from a lot of creators who started young and are now trying to build sustainable futures. Even creators from niche corners of YouTube are stepping off the content wheel. Gavin, one of the minds behind the slow-mo guys, started by filming ridiculous stunts in ultra slow motion. The channel hit massive numbers thanks to its simple format and addictive visuals. But after over a decade of running the show, Gavin slowed down. No pun intended. He moved toward behind-the-scenes work with production companies and less frequent uploads. The slow-mo guys didn't die, but they stopped trying to chase the next viral moment. Instead, they turned into a slow burn series, updated only when it made sense, not when the schedule demanded it. It's all part of a bigger realization. YouTube was never built to be a forever job. It rewards speed, quantity, and engagement, but not necessarily balance, health, or longevity. That's why creators like Akana have shifted their focus over time. Once known for fast-paced comedy and sketches, Anna has gradually leaned into acting, filmmaking, and even stand-up comedy. She's been vocal about mental health, burnout, and the need to step away from algorithm-based pressure. Her uploads now come without apology for delays or gaps. She treats her YouTube like a portfolio, not a paycheck. The message across all these stories is consistent. Being a full-time YouTuber forever isn't the goal anymore. It's the gateway, the launch pad. But if creators don't take control of their future off the platform, it'll eventually take control of them. They're finding jobs that don't rely on being watched, careers that don't depend on trends, lives where they're not a constant product. And maybe that's the most surprising job of all, being themselves, on their own terms, off camera.